Shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dabba-doo. Shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dabba-doo. Shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dabba-dee. Shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dabba-dee. Ooh! Shabba-dabba-dee. Shabba-doo. Shabba-dabba-dee, shabba-dabba-doo. Shibbity-bibbity-boo. Shibbity-bibbity-bobbity-bibbity-bobbity-bibbity-bobbity-bibbity-bobbity-bibbity, shabba-dabba-dee. Shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dee. Shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dabba-dee. Shibbity-bibbity-bobbity-bibbity-bobbity-bibbity-bobbity, shabba-dee-doo. Shabba-dee-dee. Just setting up my coffee cup and sharpening by digital pencil this time. It's very exciting. Hello, everybody. And welcome, everyone. Already 30 of you are already awake and in your pajamas and ready to go. Good Lordy, Lord. I got 30 people at my breakfast table. 30 people sitting eating the blueberries. Oh, shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dabba-dee. All right. Let me find my Fetzer valve, discombobulate my skunkulizer. Get my penupalations all proper. Shabba-dabba-doo, shabba-dabba-dee. Shibbity-bobbity-bibbity-bobbity-bibbity-bobbity-doo. Shabba-da-dee. One great thing, I don't have to film the comments anymore because YouTube has comment replay on videos. So how cool is that? So I don't have to use up screen space on comment feed anymore. So that's kind of nice. That's going to be great for CARDTOONS. So we got a couple options of things to work on this morning. We could definitely get started with Ghost Mountain, but first, thanks, Hunter. $5 in the skull already. Now that's Saturday. Hayato. So I know that the edited videos are a big hit with everybody. Some fun news there. Okay, let's get off of this scene here with my 38 coupe from Junked. Here we go. Where's the button? You know it's Saturday when you're wearing your hoodie, and that's like all you're wearing. Okay, so if you see me looking down to the side, I've just got my chat feed down there so that I don't use up drawing space. So that's like, if I'm doing this, it's not because Fievel is down there. Fievel. Yeah, edited videos. Got another one coming, and you guys, I would imagine you're going to be excited. It's Viking Death Squad Part 2. So get ready for more Viking Death Squad. That's going to be next week. But for now, it's Saturday morning. I forgot to even mention CARDTOONS like yesterday afternoon, which is what I usually do. And then I was waking up this morning and I'm like, oh, what do I normally do on Saturday morning? What's happening? Who am I? I was like, oh my gosh, it's time to draw things. Hey, shabba-dee-dee. So everybody, you can get your pen and paper out, get your pen and pencil out, and join me. Here's a little sneak peek. So the Junk project is coming along quite well, and you guys will be seeing lots more about that in the future. But I just want, it's just a little sneak peek. That's all it is. All right, so let's start off with some Ghost Mountain. So if you guys remember, last time we ended with this Gus Chiggins type character, doomed to try to sell dead fish for the rest of eternity. He was looking for that gold vein that he was never going to find. You know, that was the curse of his ghost. So I think we were still sort of busy drawing some of these characters from like a Ghost Mountain town or something. Oh, there's that weird totem. These are all from last session. The Haunted Flask, the Wanted poster. So let's do a couple more characters. I think we should probably do like a madam type character. And then we'll also do like a cowboy and a cowgirl. Just for coverage, as we call it in the industry. You want to cover all the ideas. Yeah, Nikolai. Viking Death Squad Part 2 is crazy. It's downright crazy, which it has to be Viking Death Squad, right? That's kind of the jam, right? To be a little crazy. Okay, so you guys know I use, simple brush settings and all that stuff. We don't need to go over all that again. Everybody knows about all that. So let me just pull this in a little closer. You can get a little closer with Arid Extra Dry. Okay, so we want a beautiful girl who's like a sort of a mistress, like in Westworld, right? That one of the main characters is that kind of mistress character. So I kind of want to capture some of that. And then I also like that she would match the character that is in the World's Book, which is where she's got like these Dia de los Muertos type makeup on. So just getting your basic sort of head and neck going here. And I'm sure all this will change, but the first thing you always draw always feels so... It's Saturday morning. I feel weird. I can't hear. I can't see. You can get a little closer. Now don't be shy. Okay. Remember, I like to do lots of bold black so that when these get printed on index cards, they just have that powerful presence. So we're just going to start filling things in. Good to have you all around. Look at this. Almost 60 people already here. That's just crazy on Saturday morning. Happy weekend, everybody. Hope you're all feeling good to go. Yesterday was so sunny and beautiful here in the great Northwest. And then the weekend arrives and it's like pouring rain. So lame. So very, very lame. It's about this time of year people in Washington State start freaking out about the rain. It's just enough is enough already. Okay, so we're just doing a big heavy black fill on her bouffant here, her coiffure. And then what I'll do is I'll just go in with my eraser and make sure that your eraser is basically comparable to your pen. That way they'll match each other. So low spacing, a little bit of squash, hard edge, taper, see, just like that. So that way my eraser looks like my pen. Yeah, pen, okay, cool. And so if I use my eraser as a white pen or as a negative space drawing tool, all my line work will sort of like match. It looks like it goes together. So that's a little trick there. I'm sure that you're already all doing. So now I'm just putting like these sort of highlights on her hair by erasing the black ink. So you could do the same thing remember last week I was saying you can just use white ink as well. Or you can use your eraser, either way. Whatever is faster for you and feels more comfy, more cozy. So there you go. Now we have her coiffure. And then looks like she's looking slightly off to the right. Now, a lot of people when drawing faces, especially when you're doing a woman and you want her to be beautiful, you'll use these sort of guidelines or construction lines. And what it can help you do is get attractive symmetry in the face. So with male characters, doing asymmetry can kind of feel okay and kind of fun sometimes, because it can kind of, give them character. But I find, and I'm sorry if this is some kind of double standard or something, but with a female character, even if she's meant to be gruff or tough or old or, sort of beat up and, rugged, that it's really hard to like a female character that doesn't have like appealing symmetry in her face and appealing for sort of features. Whereas a male character is so much more, I guess you could say, tolerant of like, asymmetrical looking features. So, okay, so we're just getting into the features here. Now, usually I'll get into these, especially when it's like an early drawing in my daily process and I'm not really feeling that confident, to be honest, about how good this drawing is going to be. And these features will change a lot as I go because I won't be happy with them. I kind of guarantee it at this point. Like her cheekbones don't feel right to me right now. Her chin doesn't feel right to me. But she's got some meaning in her face. I do like that part. Especially in a female character, I like that to have, a lot more to them than besides like, hello, I'm pretty. I'm pretty. That's my purpose in life. No, I don't like that. No. I want like meaning and gravity in a woman's face. Make them like a character that is gonna have an impact rather than just be sort of, I don't know, eye candy or something. I always like to get a little more to it than that. So you saw the tangent there that my brain dislikes. So when the line of the hair is meeting the lines of the eyes in an anemic or sort of squeamish way, I don't like that. Tangents either cross with authority or they don't touch at all. Okay, so I like what I've got going, but something about the mouth like got too big. Like her lips got too big, so I can't deal. Maybe she's like happy like that. And if you're wondering like what method are you using to draw these mouths, there is none. I try to be very loose with my shapes because the human form is so organic and there's so much subtlety in like how angles change shapes. I think it can be ill-suited to set out to draw like these very formulaic shapes. Here she's kind of looking like Rachel from Blade Runner, which I like. She kind of has that eyebrows up, kind of pouty thing. One thing you can do is just take your eraser or white ink and you just put a little doodad on the bottom lip and it's a little highlight. And it's kind of like she's got that tiny little bit of moisture on her bottom lip. And sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. Like right now I'm feeling like, I don't know if that's working really. And then sometimes you add the little dot like that and you get it there. That looks a little more like moisture. And then maybe she has the little septum line, like she has a... Nah, doesn't work. So now her face is a little gaunt, which I kind of like, honestly. But it's just a little gaunt. And so what I want to do, sometimes you can do this, is you fill the face a little more. You see what I'm doing there? Is like the features fill the face a bit more and you get a little more of like a living or a vibrant, alive kind of feeling. It's kind of a strange... Okay, so now I'll have her looking off to the left, which often if you look off axis from your face, you'll get this sardonic sort of sad or pouty look. So that worked really well. Great, so feeling good. Now, if I wanted to do the Dios de los Muertos thing, she would have like these, right? So do I want to do that? Or is she just, yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. So I can always back up. So let's just try it. Let's let the eye decide rather than the mind, okay? So we'll just fill in her skull things. And then they also do this like nose makeup like that, right? Yeah, okay. And then just smooth it out a little bit, so I'm kind of hiding some of my tracks as far as brush marks, just to give her these smooth features. And then go down in pen size a little bit, and you do these little guys. So it's like she has her makeup on for this holiday, but she's kind of not happy about it. It's just sort of the tone that I'm feeling here. Does she have like a little chin line? Okay, so is that more or less human than back here? If we go back before I started that process. I kind of like that better. I think maybe the Los Muertos theme is just a little heavy-handed. Heavy-handed artistically sort of meaning it's trying to be a gimmick a little too hard and it takes away from some of her humanity. Yo, Hank, have you heard of Jordan Peterson? No, Devin, who dat? Who dis? Who dis person? Who Jordan Peterson? Where he at? Okay, so I just gave her a couple stray hairs so she isn't overly perfect and statuesque. And now we need to sort of finish the character. And so she's going to have one of these kind of, these nice Spanish tops. that are like pleated, ruffled at the top, and they come off the shoulder. And then, boy, here's where you can get into a very... Takes a lot of care to do this part of the female body, which is like these delicate shoulders. You don't want to get man shoulders on accident. And it's really easy to accidentally create man shoulders. Not that some women don't have large shoulders. Of course they do. But in a piece of art, you're trying to, drive a suggestion home. And so, doing off-type anatomy can confuse the eye and confuse your suggestion. My suggestion being she's lovely, you know what I mean? So, like if I were to add an Adam's apple like this, right? Men have that feature. So do some women have a little more of like throat anatomy? Sure, but it doesn't necessarily help the suggestion you're trying to make, which is that she's delicate, lovely, so on and so forth. Okay, so here we go, getting to the edges of the top, and then they have these kind of puffy shoulders. The puffy shoulders terminate in a tight cuff. And then we have the sort of bust line here, which I'm just going to keep somewhat modest. We're not trying to make a statement in that department. And then it just kind of goes down into nothing, and we're kind of out of space. It is like corset era, so she kind of has that dramatic line. There you go. Just doing some some shading. Wow, it's early in the morning. Sorry for all the noises. Okay. And then I'd like to add another little line here to imply this kind of nice little ruffly garment she has. And this is another good move that I like to do with a lot of... You guys know my female characters, but you don't always need like a big, cleavage statement in your character. Like it's always tempting to do like this kind of thing, right? But as you could feel before I drew that in there, it's actually really nice without it. You get a very elegant feel. And it isn't trying so hard to be like, look, you know what I mean? So sometimes it can just be much more elegant, much more sort of upstanding, I guess you could describe it. Well, this is a very upstanding piece of art, hankering for an ale. Yogi. Greetings from program in England. Hey, man. Welcome from across the pond, my brother. Thanks for tuning in. It's just Saturday morning. I'm just, just doing what we do here on Runehammer, up in northern Runehammer area. And I'm about done because I think it's just so simple. I don't think she needs a lot to her. There's a little bit of a black imbalance, so I might need like some heavy black down here to get her to feel there. There we go. It's okay that her kind of drawing sort of ends, but if you just have a little bit more heavy black, it can help to anchor the piece. And then there's always a couple of these little sort of air particles. So her head and neck is like a little bit undersized for her body, but I think that adds to this very delicate look. And honestly, it's a little, not necessarily... No, they go together. Yeah, cool. I was going to say, like, she might be a little off style because she's sort of drawn in her own way, but I think it's kind of groovy. Great. Let's call that one good. Control S. Okay, we get to do one more character. Oh, hey, look, Torton bribe. Okay, great. We'll do a Torton or a few of them after this, my man. Hey, Hank, gonna run your fire and ice room design. Oh my gosh, good luck with that. The last fire room leads to the first room, but there's no door. Well, if I made any oversights with that huge, complex dungeon design, please feel free to improvise. Yeah, we can do let's do a couple Tortons in a minute. Let's do one more Ghost Mountain townsperson. Can I get a suggestion on that? I was going to do Cowboy Cowgirl. Cowboy Cowgirl. So since we're on the woman theme right now, let's just keep going with that. So let's do a cowgirl. So Cowgirl's kind of a scrappy character. Probably with a kind of a Clint Eastwood style hat. And she's kind of got her head sort of off to one side. And everyone out there who actually knows how to draw is probably gasping right now at how terrible I do things. Like, this is so not how you're supposed to do it. But, I just want to live, Rambo. Okay, now this one I'm going to do a little differently. She is going to be a woman, but I kind of want to get into a little more of a dark theme here. You can get a little closer with arid extra dry. Okay, so she's almost like a bit of an outlaw. And she might even be blonde, but for the moment we're going to work up from shadow. And you know, you really almost never want to, you know, sort of pitch a male character's head to one side like this, because it can make them feel, you know, sort of fey, which again can, you know, I mean, there are men who, you know, do those kinds of gestures, of course, but it can confuse your message. You know, so yeah, in cartoon art, are men overly masculine and women overly feminine? Absolutely. It's not to say anything sociologically, it's just to help with your suggestion. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. Dang it. Here's where the brim goes back. I know absolutely nothing about perspective. Never have. There it is. It's basically just like a matter of just bumbling until your gut is no longer twisting. You know, a lot of people joke that art is like, you know, 90% of it is sitting there cursing yourself at how terrible your work is. Okay, so there's her little hat, and she's got a little boo font in the back there. But she's a bit of a darker character, so I don't think she should have the coiffed curly hair. She should have, like, you know, almost like Conan style, like a crop. And it comes off kind of rough like that. Yeah, there we go. She ain't got time to wear curlers in the morning. She's out on the frontier, kicking butt. Being cool. Alright, so let's get in a little closer here. With arid extra dry. It's so dumb. Alright. Cool. I'm kind of liking this. This is different. So she's going to have some hair coming across the face, but before I do that, so I don't have to do a bunch of erasing and silliness, I want to do the eyes. As you can see, I'm like struggling to find the right eye. There it is, maybe. So you guys know my message. It's and I'd like to believe that you see me going through all the struggles that I talk about, which is like, it's hard to be satisfied with your work. It's like hard to, I don't care if you draw all day every day, it's still hard to do. And that's okay. Yeah, now she's got a clever look to her, right? Yeah, that's cool, because she kind of knows something. She knows something you don't. Another trick you can do for lips is to only shade the top lip, like that, and then leave the bottom lip, you know, either white or bright with color, because that's where the highlight is on the bottom lip. And sometimes that can feel counterintuitive, but, you know, the top lip is facing downward. It's an overhang, and so it creates a shadow. Whereas the bottom lip is pointing up, so it catches the light. Now, you could hardly chalk this up as lighting, but even in something extremely cartoony, you know, you can have a feeling of lighting with really simple steps. Oh yeah, so she's a very different character from our madam. And you guys, you know, I like to do, you know, suggestive ears that are very, very easygoing, meaning not a lot of detail, because I find that ears can really pull the eye away. And then she's got a little earring down here. She just has to. There we go. Well, howdy. Welcome to the frontier. I hope you make it past the first day. Whippersnapper, cowpoke. Hey, 86 crazy lumpy-headed, three-thumbed, no t-shirt having, arm growing out of their back weirdos tuned in right now. That's fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on Saturday morning. Hello to Norway. Greetings, my brother. Axes from Norway is chilling out. Yeah, I wish that I should have set this up where this computer was, whatever. You guys, I get so preoccupied and focused on just the drawn work. I gotta admit, like, my patience to be a skilled streamer and YouTuber is so limited because I get so excited just to draw. I just love to sit and draw. It's just fun. Okay, so here she is, this kind of frontier woman. Now, I'm doubting that a pupil is going to work for her character. You see, it just makes it, she loses a lot of her like mythic quality. And so what I'll do sometimes is actually just overshade the face so that I can keep the eyes blank like that. Those blank eyes can really give a character like this mythic feeling. Like that. And does it feel incomplete, or like maybe I just don't know what I'm doing when it comes to drawing pupils? Sure. But again, to me it hits that suggestion. Okay, so she's going to have a little more of she's got to have like frontier type clothing, so she's not going to be showing like a bunch of collarbones and showing a bunch of, she's going to have a little bit of you want to see a little bit of collarbones there, a little bit of clavicle, because it can be lovely and gentle. But she's not wearing anything off the shoulder. That's just ridiculous. On the frontier, come on. Come on, that's just nuts. That's crazier than a squirrel in a lumber mill. All right. It's crazier than a weasel in a wagon rut. Man, you're crazier than a monkey in a banana barn. All right, so here she go. So we're going to give her these nice lines, these nice bold lines where she's like, oh yeah, I'm out on the frontier. I'm equipped. Let me go get my shovel, my barrel of coffee, and I brought some nails. I brought some nails with me here out to the frontier. Got her pocket here, and then so what do you have in your pocket when you're out on the frontier? I mean, it's not like you have pens or something. What do you have in there? A knife? A cigar? A hanky? A little black hanky? Is that a hanky in your pocket? Well, I'll be pert near dumbfounded by that hanky in your pocket, little lady. You're a real sweetheart. All right, here we go. And then we're just, remember, trying to provide that sort of terminus to the character. And so what I'll do is try to just find a spot for a big shadow, like right there. And exactly what is that shadow, I don't know, but doesn't matter too much. It just provides a terminus for the character. And then, for some reason, I feel this kind of horizon behind her, which sort of breaks some of the rules of these cards. They're generally not like set in a place, but for some reason this feels right. Screw the rules, basically. Boy, I'd love to do one with a buckskin. Maybe our male cowboy will have a buckskin jacket. Everybody loves a cool buckskin jacket. Well, howdy. They call her Buckshot Annie. One of the rip-roaringest, highfalutinest, monkey-shootingest cowpoke out in the frontier. Now I'm just cleaning up some of my mess. There we go. Some casual erasing is what I like to call it. Just loosen up your hand, let something happen. There we go. Cool. Nice and simple. I like it. Okay. Flask. What about the flask? We already did the flask. A judge. Well, we were going to do a male cowboy. We kind of have a judge-like character. This guy? Nope. That's Gus Chiggins. This guy. He's like our barber, judge, upstanding fellow. But we don't have just a cowboy or an outlaw yet. And I think we need that. Dang, it is raining like crazy up in here. Alright, so he's got this kind of hat, and then he's going to have a buckskin jacket. So you're going to like barely see him under here. Right, so that he's going to look kind of like that. So we'll get this strong face shadow like this. And I won't fill in his hat. He'll have a brighter colored hat. There you go. Yeah, see, like right away there. And you notice just how much more effortless it is to create these sort of male characters. And again, it's that double standard of beauty, I think, is a big reason. You know, you set out to draw a woman character and you're always just worried if she's pretty. And the struggle is real on that stuff like that. That's the kind of thing that drives artists crazy. Well, at least me anyway. I don't know. When you're this unskilled, you know, things can drive you a little nuts. Okay, so he's got a little more of a ratty hat there. And then he's got this buckskin coat. So it's kind of lopsided in a way. Kind of put him up here. And then it has all these little thingies. Okay, so these thingies, probably I'm not going to draw them. What I'm going to do is the part of him below the upper part of the jacket is in shadow, and then I'm going to delete out the buckskin. So hang on, and you can see what Thanks for tuning in, everybody, as usual. Welcome to Northern Runehammer. Oh, a Chinese railroad worker guy. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I like that. I love the presence of Chinese culture in the Wild West. Now, I think, historically speaking, it's probably a pretty negative period of time for that culture, right? I mean, that's kind of a negative situation. But I do think it's really cool to have like a kung fu, you know, Chinese kind of mahjong-y. You know, I know those are stereotypes, but hey, that's all I got. And, those items and that presence in a Wild West world, I think is really cool. You know, just every once in a while, out of the blue, there's some super badass Chinese guy who gets fed up because they killed his family, or like he's out for revenge, or like they worked him to the bone and then took all that he had worked for, and that kind of stuff. I think that's a fun and less told story than it could be. Even though, like I said, you know, the role of the Chinese population in the Wild West is probably really a very negative sort of cultural memory, you know. But it's all part of the story. You know, one could probably say that as well about the treatment of women during that time period, is that it was pretty negative overall, but their role mythically in the story of the West is so cool and so flavorful and exciting. And you can always have exceptions, right? You know, there's no stereotype or historical sort of type matches all people. You have your Annie Oakleys, and there's always people who break every single type. And those are usually like some of the best of us. I like that idea. So I'm just kind of filling in this sort of poncho buckskin thing that he's got going on, just to get a certain type of character. And again, why do all these? Because remember, in ICRPG volumes, I try to give you not just things to use as table terrain, but also things to use in story brainstorming. So you need characters to brainstorm stories, you know? So you want cards that will have, you know, the wanted poster, the outlaw, the madam, the flask. You know, and just between those things I just mentioned, that kind of feels like a story. Actually was a Chinese migration into the Old West, and there's a heavy influence in San Antonio's older architecture areas. Whoa. That's awesome. And this guy's just about done. So you notice how much more just flowy I moved through doing that character, because I'm just not as concerned about making sure he had a particular look, you know. And I think, oh, well, can I do just the one eye or the two? Yeah, I'm just going to do the one, just like that. And his hair is short cropped, so it's up in his hat. And then there's some extra little fringy details on his coat down here. And I think he's about done. He might not quite have enough heavy black to make for like a really bold card. So I think just this entire panel of his jacket. Yeah, that helped a lot. And then there's like a sort of a shadow down here. And then a little sort of finishing line. So, you know, what real purpose those serve, I don't know, but they just make the card feel heavy and done. We do have a mine card. Yes, Empire role-playing game. What about a creepy miner? Oh, I think we might be covered on that front. Yeah, I'm a creepy old miner. All right. Great. Okay, so let's conclude with that little project for now. And then Mr. Shaker wanted to think about some Tortons. So I don't know if, oops, that's a little sneak peek into what we're going to do with the rest of the time here. Well, we're coming up on 9:30. We got almost 100 people hanging out for CARDTOONS, and I look like I haven't slept in 3 days. Where's all the handsomeness? Where's all the image control? That has never really been a part of Runehammer, you guys. Okay, so let's start a new canvas. So this is just a comparable canvas. So we want to do Tortons, huh? Boy, that is not an easy. That's not an easy order. So the Tortons are the turtle race from Warp Shell. They're generally sort of like gunners. There have been a few others. There's been a melee guy. There was that funny priest Torton. But it always begins with the head, right? So you want this kind of very particular Torton head. So let's do a sort of a generic kind of a badass pose. So that's usually where the arms are down and one hand has melee and the other hand has a ranged weapon. And I want to give myself a little more space than I get with a card. So this will give me a little more space here. Okay, so get my Torton. Get my head going here. So he's going to be looking slightly off to one side, and then they have this kind of snout thing. And then, you know, with the Tortons, it's always this sort of fine line of how you do this sort of a beakish kind of face without it just looking just plain goofy, like an NFL mascot or something. And so you can see how right away you kind of get this goofy look. And so what you want to do is just try to snub them more, like a snub face. This is also how I do Dragonborn, is I don't like a Dragonborn that has like a really pointy head because I think it can look very silly. But if you have a sort of more of a jaw look like this, you can look a little more like a badass. So there we go. So we're going to do a kind of a Torton with a bit of a jawbone. Oh, nice. That's pretty badass. So you see, like, you give him that jaw, and then he kind of starts looking like, oh, yeah. And he can still be Torton, but he's like a big, tough one. His other eye really isn't in view. It's kind of over there. So you see how that kind of changed. You know, another example of this style of head design would be Deathwing from World of Warcraft, kind of had this jaw type design that gave it this like anvil like shape to the head, and I think that can really like make things look badass. Okay, so now to do the Tautons, you always want to do these large sets of scales, and the scales kind of follow the mouth, and they can sort of accent some shapes. Like we have this chin shape, so we kind of do a little some scale cluster here, and then he's got like his main sort of forehead scale that protects his head, and he's got some scales go around the eye. And then the back of the head is going to go to dark, right? Okay, so we're going to get this shadow going, and then I'm going to sort of draw scales out of those shadows. Like so. See how that's kind of working out? So I don't like to draw every single scale because it can just become overwhelming to the eye. But enough of them where you remind the eye that it's like, yeah, this guy has like a faceted head almost. And you know, some artists are really good at understanding how these scale patterns fit together and making it look very believable. For my part, I just sort of try to get enough to suggest it like that. Damn it, I gotta go study. Rock on. Hey, see you later, Reality Break. Yo, Hankerin, I want to let you know that I checked out Arcane Library. Yeah, and bought her all her stuff. Yeah. Hey, that's great news, Zach. I'm sure she'll be happy about that. I hope a lot of people had that same response to the interview. It was a really fun interview. And you know, there's no agenda or anything with that stuff. She contacted me. I found her stuff. I found it to be totally awesome. I said, hey, let's hang out. And that's it. I mean, so I'm really happy that had a lot of people that have responded to it. That's very exciting. Okay, so here's my dude, and actually I feel like, you know, the scales are intruding a little bit on my perception of his character, so I'm just going to pull some of them just like this. See that? So just because I put time into drawing a thing doesn't mean I need to keep it in my drawing. No ding against myself. Like, I like that better. Just experimenting with, like, if his mouth was open. And, you know, now his jaw feels a little too big to me to be a Tauton. It's more like a dragon head or something. And so maybe we could try this. You know, just like searching, just kind of groping around for what could be a little more Tauton. You know, it's a very distinct sort of shape, set of shapes. Like there, that's a little more Tauton to me. So now, if seen in sort of in side view, and I'm trying to do a couple Tautons at the same time here. By the way, that crazy line you just saw is me like moving my canvas around and then just accidentally, you know, drawing like a huge crazy line. So it's like this is kind of the shape. Okay, now, as with so many like lizard-like heads and shapes, you can accidentally get like this kind of crazy goofy smile. See how he's got a goofy like, hi! And so what you do, you got to actively work against that with the lizard-type head like this, you know, to get more of a yelling expression. But yeah, you'll find yourself accidentally doing, like you've probably seen it a lot in dragon art. You'll see these dragons that look like they have this devilish grin. And it's not really intentional. There we go. So see, again, I'm kind of trying to find where a scale is going to be good and where it's going to detract. And, you know, sometimes I do good and sometimes I don't. So yeah, we're just hanging out. It's Saturday morning, just doing a little drawing. I hope you guys are mowing down on some breakfasts. As for me, I am in dire need of breakfasts. I'm hungry. I still hear the rain pitter-pattering and dribbling outside, and that makes me sad. But having all you guys around makes me happy. Control-Alt-Z is undo through multiple history actions. And that's interesting. I know there's a lot to learn. There's an infinite amount to learn, basically, with Photoshop. But sometimes even a better technique can make me slower because I don't have the habit. Okay, so now, see, this side view has a lot more confidence in the line art. And I don't like how many little chops and cuts I have in this line art. It's all not very confident. So one thing I'll do is take this layer and bring it down to low opacity. I'll make a new one. And instead of trying to repair an old piece of line art, I'll just go again, but with a new sort of confidence. See how different that is? So rather than going in there and trying to fix everything, I'll just use what I did as a guide and draw it with this crazy new confidence because I have a guide. So now I go down, bring it back to 100, get my lasso, and just kill this old piece of art. And there, now I have this new clean piece of art. So you see, instead of, fiending and trying to fix and getting frustrated, it's more just, let's just try that again. Now that I know what I want to draw, let me just try again. There we go. And there he is. And then I feel he looks a lot cooler. So let's get some of these cool scales. Like, for some reason, that scale almost always works. The sort of the back of the lower head always looks cool back there. And then usually, like, this little row can look really cool too, like that. There. Now, I like that drawing about a zillion times better than its original form because it's drawn with such confidence, which in a way is a form of cheating, right? I used all that development on the first drawing just to give me the confidence of where those lines were so I could find them again. And then they have this sort of nostril here. He needs his nostril. And they're a little different in their anatomy from Torton to Torton. Some of them are a little more skexy. Okay, so we're going to save him for later. I just wanted to do a side view for fun. And here we go. All right, back to my sort of, weapon in each hand is kind of the theme I'm thinking of here. That's how I end up with anything I like. Drawing over the last one I don't like as much. Yeah. 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Well, I hope that this experience has given you guys a little bit of creative rocket fuel in whatever project you might be working on. All right, now we're just going to go with good old-fashioned TMNT drawing techniques, right? You got the stomach plates that taper down toward the groin and the stomach. You got the chest plates. It divides here. I mean, this is, everybody's drawn TMNT in school, right? So it's like, this is just all your techniques all coming together. And then we're going to just do some basic, muscle stuff. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I almost always do top right lighting. So is it the right thing to do? I don't know, but it just spares me a decision. It's like having your clothes laid out for the next day. You don't have to decide what to wear. Einstein was famous for saying, you can only make so many decisions in a day, so why waste them on things like what to wear and what to eat? And so he was known to actually wear the exact same suit day after day. He would have like 12 of the same suit in his closet so he wouldn't have to decide what to wear. Keep his mind on things he really cared about. Okay, so huda, there we go. Got the neck with the collarbones. There we go. Then you go into the shoulder muscle. Here's the turtle shell, which we're not really going to see much of just because this is a front-on shot. Then here's the sort of dark interior of the turtle shell. So, I'm not going to be winning any awards with this pose. This is a really simple pose, but I think it's going to be fun remember, these are tokens. These are like used as tokens in a game. So you almost want a functional piece of art as a descriptive token for a character, more than like a, oh hey, what an inventive piece of art. I think that's why you see very frontal, simple poses in a lot of character art for tabletop. Because you really just want to see his accessories and what kind of weapons he has, and you want to see a sort of a simple portrayal of him. Okay. Oop, that was a mistake. There we go. All right. So he's there, and then his legs are kind of short like there. Remember, cylinders terminate in curved lines. Right, and then he's got these little elephant claw things. Elephant toenails. Got some knee wrinkles. And you know, I've always envisioned my Tautons as a little bit under-geared as far as armor and stuff, because they're sort of just naturally scaly and tough. You gotta love these update messages. Say like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and restart your computer now. Like, no, you're not. Okay, so now he's just got his burly forearms here, and then we're gonna have gun in this hand, and burly forearm, and he's gonna have melee in this hand. And this one, I actually like melee weapons to be held a little bit with a straighter arm, because they're sort of heavier and a little more behind the back. So just do that little step. See what I did? And then here's the hand. And the hand is going to be a little bit out of sight. Out of sight, man. Out of sight. Let's extend this shadow here. This guy's pretty cool, huh? These guys are just easy to like. It's probably why Shaker is like wanting to see more of them. Okay, there's the rest of the shell. We might give him a little pack or something too on his shell. But for now, let's arm him. So I like a weapon to be held at this angle sometimes. But not this time. Right? Okay, so hey, just being honest. Okay, so he's got it tucked into his forearm. So we can do the buttstock right here. Buttstock! And then boop. And then burp. Burp. And I think I'm going to do a bullpup. So he's going to have a bullpup machine gun kind of thing. And then he's got, as far as I'm aware, the Tautons always have these like blocky looking swords. And then kind of just feeling that this would be out of the light. And then we might add a little bit of detail to the hand. But remember, these are sci-fi characters, so I can do kind of a little bit of a weird sword design and so forth. So we'll get to that in just a second. But I want really strong silhouettes on the weapons. Again, to anchor the card and to... There we go. So see, that's kind of like all you need to see of the hand. It's just some sort of odd suggestion that he's holding it. And then, you know, you can always use your eraser to sharpen the tips of your weapons to give them that a more aggressive look like that. And then I'm kind of done. See if I even need that much data on the hand. I might just be able to do this kind of thing. Yeah, see, it's just a suggestion of what's going on back there. I don't even think I need that. I think it's in darkness. Okay, then it's going to be similar over here. So we got the sort of the carrier or the body of the gun. And you know, I some of my guns, you know, get a little crazy, and I do them in 3D with, you know, all this bars and perspective and crazy stuff. But I really have found not only do I enjoy it, but players seem to respond a lot to side views of guns. Like there's sort of a lot of data in a side view of a gun. You know, a lot of its character is contained in its side view. And you know, don't even get me started on guns, because like it's just a whole art form in itself. And then he's got this bullpup here like that. So I need a little bit bigger mag. And then he is going to grip through the gun. So actually the mag needs to go back here, so I need a little bit further extension. There's the receiver for the mag. And then it's like there. See, so he's got it like in front of his leg. And then his hand is kind of down in here, and we'll do that in a second. It's kind of going to go through the gun. But see, it's like this stubby little bullpup. A bullpup, by the way, is just a nickname for guns that have the magazine behind the hand rather than in front of it. Okay. And it can just give you like a really high-tech look. So we got a little heat sink up there, and then get my arm at a weird angle so I can pull the line. There we go. And then there's like a safety bar. And this is like a muzzle brake down here. Common themes that I do in all my guns. There's some venting. Then we do the sort of receiver for the clip, and then these, print lines or die cut lines on the die press lines on the clip. And then, do we want a low slung barrel or a high slung barrel? I think for this one, high slung might make a little more sense. Technically, I guess it's the muzzle that I'm drawing, not the barrel. And then there's like that secondary little barrel brace down there, or it could be a heat sink or a heat release, whatever. Okay, then finally we have the hand and how it's coming through. So you're going to have a thumb coming through a hole back here, and then his trigger finger here, and the rest. So you just want to give yourself enough shadow to work with. Then grab your eraser or your white ink, and here's your thumb, here's your trigger finger, and then just suggest at the other fingers. And there you go. So see, it's like his hand is coming through the gun. And then you can just kind of cut some little knuckle cuts there to make his fingers kind of pop. And there's your gun. Now I'm just doing a little cleanup. Oh yeah, that's cool how small that gun is. So I don't even need this line right here. It's just confusing things, so I'll just bag it. Yeah, that's dope. Okay, now I just can't help myself. He's got to have this kind of thing going on. He's sort of like a one Torton army is what I'm feeling like is his kind of theme. So let's give him some more gear in the form of, he's got like utility belts going. Combat harness. Kind of have they have like these low slung waists with short legs, which is part of what gives them that distinctive look. A little bit of shadowing on the legs. These guys are fun, aren't they? I always have had a hard time designing guns because I'm a bit of a gun nut and I overthink the internal workings. Yes, that will completely slow you down. Yeah, Matt, I did do hundreds of guns for Deer Hunter a few years ago. Yeah, don't worry about the internal workings. I would say what you really want to focus on is your style when it comes to designing guns. Is find your voice in what you like about guns. For me, probably the biggest influences I had were like Optimus Prime's gun, the guns that the Veritech fighters use on Robotech, the guns from Appleseed, the comic book. I really just loved the beveled barrel look in a lot of 80s anime. And the sort of safety bar and muzzle brake look that was common to that era. Other people, are inspired more by, say, like G.I. Joe gun design, stuff like that. I think just what's interesting is not even how well designed a gun is, but how much it has a sort of a voice or a style. I love how he always does guns that certain way. Like another example might be Stephen Platt, who did the Prophet comic series, and he had a really crazy style that I think was a little bit polarizing. Not all people like, but it was his style. It was definitive. It had all these little screw holes and everything. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to do some clip pockets and some other utility items that he's got. He's got maybe a grenade on here and stuff. But right here he has clip pockets. Now these need to be the mags for the bullpup, so these should be nice and big. He's got 2 clips, and then he's got like some kind of little bullet thing in his arm piece there. Now I'm just going to use the eraser to kind of fill you in on what these are. And I'll kind of do like a top flap. And then there's a clasp. Top flap and clasp. And then do just a sort of top highlight there like that. Okay, and then we got more here. Again, you kind of just do a top flap, a little highlight, a couple little highlights here. You know, what are these? I don't know. Just little lines that break up the space. And there he's looking pretty done. I feel like something's a bit missing. So for one thing, the tail. So the shell, I think, is just a little bit above where the groin is. So there's not a lot to draw there. But then he can have his little tail. Like there it is. I don't want it to feel unsightly. There we go. Jetpack. Torton jetpack. That would be break. Okay, I think I like it. That's breaking new ground. We've never had that before. In dozens of Warp Shell games, there's never been a Torton jetpacker. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I don't need to tell the entire story of the jetpack, like, you know, all the little ins and outs and the details, but just the suggestion there I think is enough to let you know how this guy rolls. Deep. That's how. Cool. I think that's about it. So he does need maybe a little more solid black to be really strong as a card or as a token. So I'll do that thing where I exaggerate some of my black. And there. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about that piece of Artos. So I hope that tickles your Torton itch, Shaker. My power. Hang on, I'm probably leaning out of the. Hey, I'm back. I'm creaking. I'm leaning. What happened? Well, I'll have to get back to that in a moment. Okay, great. So I'm going to save this out. Oh, well, you don't want to see all that stuff. So, cool. There it is. We'll just let that be. And then we have this to think about. Okay, so we did some Ghost Mountain cards. A few characters there. Started diving into this Torton. That's really fun. So he'll probably wind up in the 2E core hero set. So you guys can look forward to rolling this character up. I hope you look forward to it. Jeez. Trying to get my other thing to activate here. It died and restarted. Okay, cool. There we go. So many computers. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to do, I don't know if we really fully have time. 91. Any new projects on the horizon? Boy, are there ever. 2E is about to come out. I just ordered the final proof copy. The third Runehammer novel is done, and so we're working on the 3-in-1 books for that. It's going to be amazing. Well, I hope it's amazing. Jeez. Doing my best, though. Let me put it that way. And then we've got videos coming up, and that's just normal stuff. But my next big project, if you guys want to take a peek, we could peek at that instead of the other thing I wanted to do. That's junked. This is Junked. So Junked is my sort of car combat board game, and it's got a print and play version that's going to be out. I don't want to show you too much because it's pretty young, but needless to say, it's awesome. I've been putting a ton of work in Junked. I've also been doing a full miniature and terrain set for it, and so that's like all that's going to come in time. But for now, you know, suffice it to say, it's got some craziness in it. You know, like there's battle buses. There's battle buses. There's badass little charger cars. It's just there's a lot going on in that game. So I don't want to reveal all that stuff yet, but that is my next big one, and I'm hopefully also going to be bringing that to Gen Con, and we'll be playing that on the floor or maybe even at some tables or in hotel rooms at Gen Con. Did we lose our stream here? What happened? Did we lose our stream? No, it looks like it's still working, right? Hey, am I still there? And let me see if, you know, you come to the 1 hour mark and everything just starts going hooey on you. Okay, cool. We're still working. Any no vids on room design? Yes. The Viking Death Squad Part 2 is going to have all the rooms involved in that. And books, yeah. The Next Layer of Knowledge is also ready. And I'll be filming that this week. So it's just been a very busy week. And then next week, we've got video making and the next huge burst of Kryphoth artwork. That's starting probably Monday morning. And the Kryphoth I'll be working on all April. So who knows what's going to happen, but yeah, so the last thing that I wanted to show you guys before we go, hey, thanks for that, Keith. Man, there's so much to show on Junked. I can't wait. I don't know if you guys saw, but 2 Minute Tabletop released a trap set, a set of tokens for traps, and they are so fun and so simple. You guys know me. I think he basically has the best style for Roll20 and creating content for Roll20 of anybody out there. And so, with that in mind, I wanted to sort of show you guys some of how I, go about hacking, because I wanted to do a bunch of stuff with his traps. So right now I just have one of his floor pieces. So see, I just kind of get it down to this. And I know that he makes other corridors and other things like that and stuff, but I'm just doing my own. So you can see I just took a chunk and then flipped it, sort of folded it back onto itself, and then run it down like this. And there's my corridor. Just grab a piece of floor like this, cover up that broken piece, got a longer corridor. It's just so simple to work with his art in a fast, sort of sloppy way, and it doesn't look wrong. The way he draws is just so suited to dungeon creation. Let's see how sloppy my little clone stamp steps were, but they don't look bad. They look fine. Okay, so there's my corridor. I just made it that fast out of his artwork, and that's why I love his artwork. It's so cool. So for an example of his trap stuff, here's this little wall vent. Like, look how nice that just fits on there. It's so cool. And then, where's that acid thing? I just wanted to show you guys. I didn't want to get all into this, but I was thinking about doing a whole stream on designing traps using these. Where is it? Fire gout. That'll work. So this is a little of fire. So look, it comes out of this little vent. And the style just works with itself so good. I want this to fill this corridor a little better, so it's like that. It's so cool. So let's say that isn't quite vivid enough. I just keep things as smart objects, and then when I want to mess with them, I just rasterize them in case you guys are wondering how I'm doing it. Then I'll go like that, and there it's a little hotter, right? You can also load the selection on it. Get a yellow color dodge gradient. a silly way to just blow out the heat on something. So see that, how the heat gets really much stronger looking. And there, that fits my style a little bit better. So right there, I'm starting to get ready to pull together assets for like a Roll20 set of dungeon traps, which I'm going to do, but I have a different game to run next week, so I got to work on that. And then after that, maybe we'll do like a crawl with a bunch of traps. And so as I'm working through that, I can post the work and so on and so forth. But that is about an hour of drawing, you guys, for cartoons. So I'm out of time. I got to go do my day. I got to get outside and, live life, l'chaim, as they say. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to keep an eye out as Runehammer continues. Next Wednesday, I'm going to have Jose Late, the fantasy artist, on the channel, I think at 3 in the afternoon, and we're going to draw together and talk about an exciting project that me and him are working on. He also just finished his art book for his master's in fine art, and so we're going to be taking a look at that, and it's going to be awesome. So tune in for that, and Viking Death Squad, and other treats coming up. Oh, Lair of Knowledge next week as well. So things on the tubes of you. All right. That note probably is a good time to get the heck out of here and stop doing all this craziness. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. And if you threw a ducat in the skull and I didn't notice, thank you. Hey, there's Nate on the chat. That's cool. Good to see all of you guys. And I'm going to get the heck out of here. I got to go brush my teethus and live life. Yeah, and you should do the same thing. Unless you already brush your teeth, then you should floss. Floss. Yeah, flossing's cool. Strength, honor, beer. Happy weekend, you guys. Talk to you soon. Ba-da-ba-bow.